Our thoughts and discussion on the PlayStation 5 event here on Wumpa Time. Hi everyone, it's me, Shemp, and I'm here with my favorite co-host ever, one and only.
Oh, the one, the only Canadian guy, eh?
Yes, and we are here to talk about exclusively the PlayStation 5, but first, there's more.
There is more. There is one piece of quick news because we figured that most of Wumpa Time is going to be taken by the discussion of PlayStation 5. I mean, that's what's dominating the news, but there is one piece of quick news, and it's a special piece of news to my heart. It is my son's second birthday today. My little boy David's 2
whole years, dude. He's basically an adult.
I know, man. But I mean, I also take that as a pat in the back for me because I was able to keep a child alive for 2 years when I didn't think I could keep it alive for 2 seconds. And
bro, my Tamagotchi lasted like a week. You talking 2 years?
Oh, dude, it's been such a learning experience, but I love him to death. And eventually, hopefully in the future, when he thinks his dad is cool, which will never happen, he'll listen back on one of these podcasts and he knows that I love him to death and that he is my little boy and he'll always be my little boy. And
Smash cut to the future where he's like, Dad, I'm like 40. Stop calling me that. He's like, no, you're my little boy.
You're my little boy. No matter what you say, I'll be 75 rocking in my chair and you're my little boy. That's
you're
it.
my little boy.
Yeah, whippersnapper. But now that we got away from the little sentimental stuff, let's get into
Ooh, all of it. Just all of it. So
where do we start?
Sony was just like, here's everything. Yeah, here's everything except the price
and release date.
Everything else and the release date. But first, we got some games to talk about, and then we got a wireless router to talk about. So,
I like that wireless router.
It looks like it'll keep my Wi-Fi signal. So, let's get into the games. First off, they started with the biggest game everyone has been waiting for. Oh. That's right, GTA 5 again for the third time.
Third port.
Like, I was thinking, like, oh, Rockstar? Oh my God, GTA 6. No. I gave them too much credit. No, it's GTA 5 again. But guess what? It's the same game.
It's
cool. Remember when it came out on the PS4 and it was like enhanced on the PS3, and then it came out on the PS4 and it was like enhanced graphics and better expansion and the online and all this cool stuff. And I was like, okay, cool. And now the PS5 version gets announced and it says the exact same thing beat for beat. It's GTA 5. If you played it twice before on 2 different consoles, it's gonna be the same game.
Yeah, this was a thing. That was wow.
Yeah, I was like, why?
I will say though, I am happy that they opened with that to kind of get it out of the way.
Just so it could be like, okay, yeah, GTA 5, whatever. And then to be fair, everything after this was new. Yeah. Okay, get the fluff out of the way, get the joke out of the way. Yeah. And then right after that was Spider-Man, right?
Yes. So I have the full list here of everything.
Okay, I have a list too, but it's out of order. So
pardon?
I have a list too, but it's out of order.
Okay. So here we go. We got the announcements and we're gonna go into kind of each one. Now there's one that I'm seeing here that's missing. So this may not be all of it. I think it's most of it. Like, I'm looking at the titles and it's all the big titles and the smaller titles. There's one that I'm missing, but
what I got you if you miss one.
Yeah. So we had Spider-Man, Miles Morales, which we're going to talk about because there has been some confusion on that, thanks to IGN and a few others. Gran Turismo 7, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. I can't say that without being excited.
Yeah.
Yeah. Project Athia?
Yeah. Athia, I think.
Yeah, Athia. Stray, Returnal, Sackboy: A Big Adventure, Kenna, Bridge of Spirits, Oddworld: Soulstorm, Ghostwire Tokyo, Godfall, Solar Ash, Hitman 3, Astrobot, Little Devil Inside, NBA 2K20, Bug Snacks, Deathloop, Resident Evil 8 Village, Pragmata, Horizon Zero Dawn Forbidden West, Grand Theft Auto 5 Enhanced Edition, and also the one that I see missing here is good. It was the high school one, Goodbye Volcanic High.
Yes, that and Demon Souls.
And Demon Souls. How did this list miss Demon Souls?
Yeah,
That was a big one.
I thought it was Demon Souls, but
But it's
apparently
demons.
it's Demons Souls.
Demons
Okay,
Souls.
so let's go down this little list. So let's start with Spider-Man. So thank you, IGN. I didn't think so. I was at work and we played this we played this whole event on the back TV, on the big back TV, so everyone walking in could watch it. And when Spider-Man showed up, the entire store just combusted. Like the roof was off, the gate was broken, all the doors blasted open. So I thought it was obvious. First off, this is a standalone game. This is not, I repeat, this is not Spider-Man 2.
No.
This is a bridge game. This is going to be a small game to hold us over. So this is going to be in the same line as Infamous First Light or Uncharted Lost Legacy, which were both technically expansions of the previous game, but they are their own games. For example,
Because there's so much to it. There's so much to it that it's can't
not
stand
just
as a DLC.
Yeah, Uncharted Lost Legacy was its own story that took place right after 4, hence why it was an expansion of 4. You don't play as Nate, you play as Chloe, and it's its own story.
Right.
So like my mind, everyone else is like, oh yeah, it's a standalone game, cool, whatever, it's gonna hold us over. And then IGN's like, actually, it's a remaster. And it's a sequel, but it's not a sequel, but it's kind of a game that's also a remaster. And everyone was like, what do I report on?
So there was so much confusion when it came to this, because basically what they were trying to say was that, it's actually Spider-Man PS4 ported to PlayStation 5 with a Miles Morales DLC bolted on top of it.
Which is the dumbest way you could explain that.
And
like, I get they're trying to say it's the engine put on the PS5.
Right.
You don't need to say it's ported. It's its own game.
So what I think the confusion came from is that when you refer to Infamous, was it Last Light or First Light?
First Light.
First Light. So you got Infamous, and then you had the Uncharted Lost Legacy, right? You got both of those games. They were both on PS4 to PS4, right? They were within the same generation. What makes Miles Morales different is that it is coming out on the PlayStation 5 and not the PlayStation 4. And that is where the confusion came from, I believe. I believe that transition right there from the fact that it's the same thing as the Lost Legacy or First Light, it's that style of game, but moving to next generation was where things just kind of went spiraling out of control in terms of confusion over at IGN.
Yes, and I would like to also mention that this is technically a launch title for the PS5.
It is.
Like, it said holiday
Very smart.
2020. So keep in mind, this isn't going to be anywhere as big as Spider-Man, like the original Spider-Man. This is going to be a very. I'm already seeing it. This is going to be a very short game with a very good story, probably a lot of content, like a lot of costumes and whatnot. But it's going to be like maybe an eighth of the length of Marvel Spider-Man.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be as big. You're probably going to be able to pick it up for like instead of the full $60, you're probably going to get it for $40.
Yeah, 30 or 40. I'm thinking 40.
Yeah, I'm thinking 40.
So it's going to be its own thing. Hopefully it's a physical release, which, by the way,
I think it will.
That's something I want to get into after we talk about the games and we talk about the consoles. But so yes, Spider-Man, Miles Morales. I'm so glad we got a Miles game. Yes. I'm very excited for that and what we're going to get after. I'm super hyped for that.
And here's the thing too, just a random thing in terms of the costumes too, because if you think about it as well, I can almost promise you, and if they don't, I mean, it would be a lost opportunity, but I can almost promise you that they will, that they're going to have a Miles Morales suit from Into the Spider-Verse when he's on his way to when he's on his way to go help. So the hoodie, the Jordan 1s, right, the shorts, right.
There's no way they're not going to put that in.
Yeah,
there. If they don't put that in there, I'll get upset.
Yeah, I mean that's like, and if that was like the final costume, it would make sense. It would totally make sense because that costume is awesome. It's such a great design, and it would be cool too because, like I said, they have different like animated Spider-Mans, like the outfits. They look different. It'd be cool if it had the Into the Spider-Verse stylization, like how it's the outline, the comic book outline. Do you know what I mean?
Because Peter B. Parker costume was in Marvel Spider-Man, and it had the same thing. He was lanky and stylized and everything.
Yeah, exactly. So I was thinking that would be really cool. So
then let's get into Gran Turismo 7. Woo, Gran Turismo.
Yeah, so I would take. I took it. I was like, okay, Gran Turismo. I'm not into Gran Turismo. I know that there's a big following for it, but I took this as a tech demo. That's what I looked at it as. Is what could we do?
We always need a racing game for a new console.
Of course. And you got Forza, you got Gran Turismo. I just wish they'd bring back Ridge Racer. I feel
yeah. Every console up until the PS4 had a Ridge Racer game.
I know the last one was Ridge Racer for the PS3. I remember I picked it up and I actually enjoyed that one. But Gran Turismo 7, the one thing that I was really impressed by, remember Sony was talking about the 3D audio?
Yes, I was going to get into that too.
Yeah. You could, the way that, what I thought was the coolest thing was when the car was passing another car and you could literally hear the Doppler effect. Which is.
Yeah, that's why they specified you wear headphones for this event.
Yeah, that was incredible.
That was really good. And with these racing games, it's perfect to show off all the new consoles, new technology, because this also uses the haptic feedback, which Sony has been pushing a lot. And I think it's also going to be using the adaptive triggers for like the gas pedal and everything.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And if you get bumped, you can feel like the rigidness. So if you get bumped and you try and the brake and trying to steer back into control. Oh, I can't wait.
That's something I'm probably gonna pick up because I'm usually not into racing games, but I really want to try this. And then of course, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. I was so impressed with this one.
Yes, that was. Now there was something that I found out that I didn't know until afterwards, and I don't know if you know because we haven't talked about this yet, but when I saw it transition into gameplay, I was just like, no way. Like,
because it did the Uncharted thing where it goes straight from cutscene to gameplay.
Yeah. And then afterwards they showed like 3 minutes of actual pre-alpha gameplay, and that was the biggest thing. And
yeah, I was like, this is pre-alpha?
Yeah, this is pre-alpha, excuse me. And I'm still laughing in my head. Like, I keep listening back to that trailer and where he's riding the bug. He's like, how do I get to slow down? Ask nicely.
Please stop. Oh, he's not listening.
That's not listening. No, that was fantastic. But what was so incredible about the gameplay was that it literally looked like the cutscenes transition between the cutscenes and the actual in-game were the same. Legitimately.
Yeah, I think it was all real time. I don't think any of this was pre-rendered.
Yeah, no.
I think everything, so first off, I want to give a huge round of applause from Insomniac because we have 3 split teams, one for Ratchet, one for Miles, and one for Spider-Man 2. That's insane. Like, good lord, I can't imagine I think they're all running on the same engine as well.
Yeah,
because I remember it went from Sunset to Ratchet to Spider-Man to Ratchet again to Spider-Man again.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you noticed. So first off, with the gameplay, if you hadn't seen it, it's Ratchet and Clank. Imagine Ratchet and Clank PS4 reboot, but he's able to just pull in another dimension, and then the entire environment just changes.
Yeah.
So if you see you see this little crack in the dimension, and he throws like a whip or something, and he pulls it, and then it goes over him, and the environment changes like that. There's no loading, no nothing. It's just perfect streaming, and that was really cool. But I did notice, I don't know if you noticed this too, every time whenever he was falling or flying
I was just about to talk about this.
Yeah, every time that happened there was a frame dip. It would pause to load everything, and I was like, ooh, again, it's pre-alpha. I don't expect that to be in the final game, but that's very noticeable.
I did notice a bit of a frame dip, but the speed still though.
Oh yes, like it's immediate.
Yeah. So what was happening was that basically when he would go through each one of those portals, the purple cracks in time or whatever, or the space-time continuum, when he would pass through, the assets behind him would unload, and the next assets would load essentially, and the speed of when things were loading up was so fast. right? Like
Yes.
essentially if we would really dumb it down to layman's terms, when he goes through those portals, that's a loading screen to the next quote unquote level.
Which is a huge it's a huge showcase of the PS5's SSD that Sony keeps mentioning.
Yeah.
Because it is like, I think it goes as fast as 5 or 8 gigabytes per second,
which is stupid.
I still can't put my head around that. But this game really showed off that speed and what you could do with it. Because I can't stress how much is like bam, bam, new level right then and there. Still run around. He went from like a desert level to a jungle level to pirate level with like water crashing. Yeah, Kraken, water crashing, lightning crashing, all kinds of environmental
and then like a metropolis. There was like at one point there was like a metropolis that looked like
There's
Jack
a
and
metropolis.
Daxter.
Yeah, see, my first thought, okay, so going into like the game itself, my first thought is, oh, he's going through all of the games from before, because when I saw the pirate ship, I was like, oh, is that Quest for Booty? Because that was Ratchet Future. But another question of mine was, the last game was a reboot of the first game.
Right.
People were thinking this is like, everyone thought, oh, okay, maybe they'll do a reboot of Ratchet and Clank 2. But no, this is its own game. So is this a sequel to PS4 Ratchet or from the last Ratchet Future game?
I don't know. I have no idea. But I mean, what they were saying in the I remember they were mentioning in the gameplay section that Dr. Nefarious is back. Right, so
he's back. Okay, so they specify back, so that means it has to be a sequel. And I'm also curious of the new character that they showed off at the very end.
The female Lombax.
Yes, the female Lombax that popped up, because Ratchet and Clank get separated, and Clank goes Ratchet, and then this female Lombax comes down and goes, "Who's Ratchet?" And to be fair, she is just like a gray Ratchet. Like she just looks like Ratchet.
Cute, but she looks cute.
She looks like Ratchet, but gray with a poofier tail. And dude, the internet went off when they saw her. They were like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, there was art, but there was some beautiful art literally within an hour of the game.
Dude, I was so impressed by how fast these artists work. Like, I just saw her, and then I went on Twitter, and I was like, "Oh, there it is, the swarm of her." We don't even know her name yet.
No, we don't even
know her name.
It's when I got sent the assets. Do you know what they set her name as? Because they sent me assets and pictures, like 4K images and stuff. And I got 4K images for Ratchet, and do you know what they titled her as?
What'd they title her?
Who? That's it. Who?
Just who?
Who? Who? And I'm like, was she an owl?
Because she just says who, so that's what they called her.
Yeah. Who? So that was funny.
This is kind of a big deal for the story too, because I didn't play it. I'm gonna stream all the games I haven't played, but isn't one of the big things is that Ratchet thinks he's the last of his kind, and then on one of the games he finds a tribe of Lombaxes. Is that right?
I don't remember, dude. I only played the original trilogy and the reboot of the first game, and I played Deadlocked. Those were the ones I played. I didn't play the other ones. I own
all of them. I'm gonna stream all the PS3 games because those are the ones I missed out on.
Same.
Like I played Ratchet 1, a little bit of 2 and 3. I played all the way through Size Matters. I played a little bit of Deadlock like you, and then I played a demo of Crack in Time as a kid. And then I like you, I jumped straight to the PS4 Ratchet.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of really good stuff for Ratchet and Clank. I'm very excited in terms of both
so excited.
tech, in terms of tech, and also too, one last thing before we move on. I know we've been gushing about Ratchet and Clank, but one of the weapons that I saw that Ratchet had was literally turning creatures into stone and the flowers popping up.
Oh yeah, that was cool. Oh, that's my favorite thing about these Ratchet and Clank games is the weapons.
Oh, of course. But the big thing that I noticed there is that they were flexing how many particle effects could be going on at once, and the frame rate the frame rate was just like, yep, we're still 60, we're still fine, or 30 or 60, whatever. I can't remember back, but remember they streamed at 30 frames. So, but even for all the chaos that was going on, if that was even came close for the PlayStation 3 or the PlayStation 4, the PlayStation 4 would have just blown up. Like, yeah,
it would have just been like, all right, pause. All right, let's keep going.
Yeah. But then there's the next one, which we don't know the full title for.
The next. What do you mean?
The next game. Or was there something you want to say about Ratchet?
Oh, right. I thought you meant like the next Ratchet game. I was
No,
like,
no,
dude,
no,
we just got word of the new
no,
one.
no. I was gonna say Project Athia.
Oh, Athia, yeah. I think you would know a little bit more about that because I was at work. I was glued in and out on a lot of things.
So Project Athia is something coming from Square Enix. So Square Enix is making it. We don't know anything about it. It was a kind of more of like a tech demo. There was a giant dragon that looked really cool. Its heart was exposed and it was made of fire. And I'm like, that's kind of cool. There's these big creatures. There was a lot of like Shadow of the Colossus vibes from it.
Oh yeah, okay, I remember that.
Yeah, and that was very cool, but we don't know much about that. And release date obviously to be determined. Then we had Stray.
Stray cat game.
Cat game, yeah. So basically, humans are dead, and you play as a cat.
That's it. You live no. You live in a world of robots where I assume that what I'm assuming from the lore, they haven't told us anything, but what I'm assuming is that years ago humans found a way to create sentient robots that could live among us, but they outlived humans. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm getting, because you see on the wall, you see like this robot scrimmaging through the trash because he's homeless, and on the wall it says "Rip Humans." So I'm thinking, oh, maybe they outlived the humans, and everything is kind of gone south from here. But the main game is you just play. Like, they didn't even show gameplay; they just showed the concept trailer, and the main character is just a cat, like a regular cat, not anthropomorphic, just a normal cat walking around.
Yep.
So cat game.
I'm
interested.
Yeah.
I'm interested. That's all I can say about it.
Yeah.
And then good old NBA 2K21. Who cares?
Tech demo. Then there was a Returnal.
Returnal. I don't really remember much about that one.
Okay, so Returnal was definitely like what I was getting from it was, imagine Death Stranding meets Dead Space. So.
Oh yeah, we all thought that was Dead Space when we saw.
Yeah, but I think this was made by the director of Dead Space, because he said that his game was being presented in this, and I think it is. I think this was the director of Dead Space. But basically, the concept is this girl, the way she was explaining it, and the way I feel like how it's going to apply in the mechanics, is that she's flying through space, she gets hit by a meteor, crashes on the planet, and then she gets killed. But what happens is that she keeps reliving those experiences over and over again, but she can remember it each time.
That's cool.
But what happens, and this is where it gets interesting, is that she says that every time she dies and comes back, the planet is different.
That's such an interesting concept.
So the concept that I'm thinking it is, if they're going to go wild with this, is that when you die and you respawn back in the crashing of the ship, but when you land on the planet is different every single time.
I like that. I really like that. Because I'm skimming through the trailer, and all the environments are so different. It's so like varied.
Yeah. It's a very interesting idea that I want to see more on. And it's very cool, but like I said, very alien, like Prometheus, very Dead Space, but also very Death Stranding, kind of weird, playing with and she says that she's slowly losing her sanity and all this stuff, and it's very, very different, and it kind of looks really cool.
We should also mention that this, they did specify that this is designed exclusively for the PS5, which means it's a console exclusive, still coming to PC, but PlayStation is nabbing a lot of third-party exclusives, which is very, very good for something like this.
It's like a sub exclusive, where it's like, okay, you can get it on PC, but if you want to have it on the console, you can only get it on PlayStation, and that's a big market.
Now let's dive into Sackboy: A Big Adventure, because I'm gonna be honest, I was not expecting this. When I saw him on there, when I saw that, I was like, oh, Little Big Planet 4, okay, that's cool. And then it just showed him running around in 3D, and it was just a platformer, and I was like, yes, this is what this series needed. Yeah, because Little Big Planet is such a great game, but it's not very like pick up and play. I'll say, because there are only so many good community levels that people make.
Yeah.
This is a dedicated platformer by Sumo Digital, which, by the way, is one of the most varied developers I've ever seen in my life. They've made almost everything, and they made LBP3, and it was a really good game, but people weren't a huge fan because it had a lot of technical issues.
Yeah.
Like servers kept crashing, the game kept crashing, no one would connect, nothing could connect, glitches, all that stuff. But it was a fun game, and they're back at the helm with this Sackboy spinoff, and it's still like a 4-player, 1-player, 4-player game. It's like, imagine if Knack was good. And it had
Knack
Sackboy
3,
in it.
baby.
Knack 3.
I really like this trailer too, because at first I'll be clear and honest with me. I at first was confused and a little bit taken aback. I was like, okay, kind of like a big point of Little Big Planet was creating your own levels and creating your own stuff.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
But then I thought about it. I'm like, well, Media Molecule is doing Dreams, and that is literally like the epitome of Little Big Planet. Like what Little Big Planet was basically going for was being able to
essentially
create your own game or create your own experiences. And I think Sony recognized that, and they're like, okay, why don't, instead of us, because people still love Sackboy, right? Why don't we separate not necessarily take, because not take the customization, but take that engine of creating something and put it in Dreams, and then take Sackboy, and instead of it being developer created levels and then community created levels, let's create levels that seemingly is by the developers, but make it really diverse and not just 2D.
Yeah, let's make a memorable platformer, because that's something Sony needs right now, is a dedicated platforming mascot.
Yes.
Because they don't have Crash and Spyro anymore. Sackboy was considered their platforming mascot, but it wasn't really a platformer. It was more of a game engine, because you can make your own game. But this is what they needed, because Knack, good God, was not doing it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is going to be a launch title. I hope it is. But
it is 2020. It is coming out in 2020, so I think it is.
Yeah, so they also specified that it's a platformer, quote, with a deeply immersive and expressive control scheme. I don't know what that means. I don't know what they're trying to get at with that. Like, you move and you jump. What are you trying to tell me?
I love some of these companies when they come up with these descriptions for games, and like it's got it's got a deep dive of emotional control. What does that mean?
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
Now, something cool I'd like to mention real quick is a small game that's coming preloaded on the PS5 is Astro's Playroom, which on the PS4 it was Astrobot.
It was Astrobot.
Astrobot was a PS4 VR game. It was a VR exclusive game, and it was really good. It was a really good game. I own it. It's very fun.
I played it. It's great.
And this is a standalone game that's not VR. It's gonna be preloaded on the PS5. So if you don't buy any games right away, you'll have this on there for free. And essentially what it is you're going to be using the DualSense controller to guide Astrobot through 4 worlds based on the PS5's console components.
Yeah.
So you're going to be making him go through the console, and I think that's really cute.
Yeah.
It's very adorable.
It is, and a very good idea, because look at I remember sitting down and listening to a university talk by what's his name? Reggie Fils-Aimé, the previous North American president of Nintendo. And he was saying that one of the biggest things that sold the Wiis was having the Wii Sports preloaded with the Wii, right? And I feel like PlayStation took a chapter out of Nintendo's book and it's like, here's literally a full-fledged, fully funded platformer game, Astrobot's Playroom, and it's preloaded. Every PlayStation will have it.
Yeah, even if you buy it used, and you have to reformat it, you still get it. You're not gonna be able to buy this. You can only get this for free.
Exactly, and I'm very impressed by it. But another project that I'm very impressed by, which actually has a really interesting past, was Kenna Bridge of Spirits.
Yeah, so is that the one? So that's the one that's made by the two film students, right?
I don't know. It was Ember Labs.
I think it's the one that looks like really pretty, right?
Yeah, it's
Because
very pretty.
I remember that it was two dudes who were talking, and they say, "Hi, we're film students or something. We've worked in film, and we wanted to make a game. Here's our game."
Yeah.
What it turns out, actually, I think you're about to say this, but they worked on the Zelda Majora's Mask fan animation, the big 3D fan animation that was like what 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah,
that looked incredible.
Yeah, it was a terrible fate. It was Majora's Mask, a terrible fate.
Yeah.
And it was explaining like the backstory of Skull Kid and how he came to be and how he had the two fairies with him and how he discovers the mask. And it's very dark and very but it looks gorgeous. And I guess the assumption is PlayStation approached them and was just like, hey, our console, you want to make a game?
They're like, well, yeah.
And honestly, it looks like a cross between like it's got like Horizon Zero Dawn and Pikmin vibes, because you get those little creatures that you save and then you tell them to attack the bigger creatures and they take them down while you also take it out. So it's got that like kind of that co-op adventure type of deal, and that's probably like out of the big AAA ones, that's the one that I'm looking forward to the most. Is Kenna. I think that's where I'm putting my money down on. I mean, all these games look great, but Kenna looks like it's a launch title, and I'm super pumped for it.
Okay, I also have a question. Hopefully, you can answer.
Sure.
Goodbye Volcano High. Is that a game? What is it?
Yes.
I thought it was like a show, but it just says coming to PS4 and PS5. What is it?
So I think it's a story-driven narrative indie game, I believe, where it stars, it looks like anthropomorphic, I guess, dinosaurs, because it makes sense. Goodbye Volcanic High.
I think they're dinosaurs.
They're creatures. I mean, the one looked like a dolphin. The one character looked like a dolphin with a spade through its head. I was confused on some of the creature choices, but I think that this is definitely something that's leaning towards the furry fan base, more the and which is cool.
Yeah, that's cool. Specifically, yeah, that's cool.
It's cool. I'm not knocking it, but that's just that objectively, that's what it seems like it's leaning towards too.
Which other games have done before, like Into the Woods, I think, was a big one that was similar to this, but it was a specific art style and very stripped down gameplay. This looks like an animated show, and the thing is, it's not coming out till 2021.
Yeah.
So this has a long way to go from here, and I still don't know if it's a game or not.
Yeah, it's that one's a little bit weird. That one was definitely one that stood out. That was a little bit odd. Speaking of odd, there's Oddworld, Soulstorm.
Oddworld. Yes, people thought this was a remake in the store until we saw the end. No, this is a sequel.
Yeah, so I never played Abe's Odyssey, the original one.
Me neither, but I know about it. I've seen gameplay of it, and I know the impact that it's had on a lot of people, and especially the gaming world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Abe's Odyssey was... It's kind of weird because I heard about Abe's Odyssey when I was working at my old workplace. My boss would say that it was always talking... He talked about that game quite a bit. He said, I would really like to see that game come back. And then literally, it was 2 years... not too long, a year later, they announced the Oddworld... Because this is an announcement, because we've seen Oddworld Soulstorm announced before, but then we haven't seen anything. We didn't see any gameplay. Yeah. We saw it was so early, and this is the first time that we actually saw another trailer and gameplay. And a friend of the channel and one of the head mods, Katie, she loves Oddworld, and she was freaking out about that. And I'm excited to see, because I might pick it up. What I might literally do, and not to claim anything. I think what I'm going to try to do is I'm just going to save up as much money as I can, and then when the PlayStation 5 launches, just literally walk in and say one of everything here. One of everything.
Yeah. I mean, I want to do that too, but I'm too paranoid. I'm probably gonna put down a pre-order as soon as they go live because Sony already announced way before that the PS5 is gonna launch in extremely limited quantities.
I know.
That their words, and I am so scared because
Same.
I don't want to go without a PS5 launch day, so I can at least do a video on it like I did with the Nintendo Switch. I want to like test everything I can, see how it
Same.
works, blah 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 blah. But one of the games I was very interested in, and I'm glad to see had another trailer after the first one, was Deathloop. I've been looking forward to Deathloop for a while. I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
But they expanded more on the lore. For those of you who don't know, Deathloop is about a guy in a town who they party all night every day, and their goal is to kill the main character. And every time he dies, he comes back, but he remembers it. So it's constantly who can kill him, and then I assume reap the reward for killing him that time.
Yeah, I'm sure like you get like a bonus that day, like of money and stuff, and you
Yeah.
get the party and stuff like that. He's stuck in this loop, and he's trying to figure
It's
it
not
out.
just him. I think there's two. There's
two.
the woman that's following him who's also stuck in a loop, and the goal is to try to break the loop.
Yeah, but she keeps killing him, and he's like, no, I will break this loop, and it looks like a cross between. Did you ever play Dishonored?
Yeah, I was about to say it has very big Dishonored vibes.
Dishonored and like BioShock. Like,
yes, that's what I said. I said BioShock.
Yeah, Dishonored and BioShock. It's got very much that first person point of view, that very what's the word I'm looking for? Not neo future, but like
Steampunk?
steampunky, futuristic
Yeah.
steampunk kind of style. And
Yeah.
it looks cool. I don't know if I'll pick it up. I mean, I might, but I think that Deathloop looks really, which is really interesting that we both had the Returnal and Deathloop kind of the same idea of the loop, and we might start seeing a reoccurring theme here.
Yeah. Which game were you going to bring up next?
Now I was going to bring up I guess officially the very first PlayStation 5 event game to announce Godfall.
Godfall, yes. So that it's looking more. We saw more gameplay finally, and we saw gameplay in general, and it looks like For Honor. Like that's it.
I mean, it looks.
I
fun.
don't know, man. It looks fun, but like I don't want to spend $60 on it. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no.
It doesn't look like there's a lot there.
Yeah. I'm not 100% sure about Godfall. I mean, it seems like the combat is really smooth, and that's what I think will be this big selling point, is the fact that the how smooth it is. To be honest, like I still don't know what it's about. I would like to get a story. Like what's the narrative here? Because right now it looks like a hack and slash a little bit. Like imagine For Honor hack and slash. And you get like different weapons and you get different armor, and it looks fun, but it doesn't look like it breaks the status quo. You know what I mean?
No, it looks like it's gonna be one of those games like, that one, like For Honor and Rise and the
I
Order
was just about to say
1886.
Rise, Son of Rome.
Yeah, Rise. Yeah, it just looks like one of those games where you walk in on a shelf, see it used for like $5, and like, oh yeah, that one.
Yeah.
But the game I wanted to get into, which by the way, we reported on this and we called it Resident Evil Village.
Yes.
We called it. We reported on it multiple times, in fact. And yes, Resident Evil. Dude, I was not expecting Capcom to pull that.
No.
I'm gonna be completely honest. I have my coworker who is a massive Resident Evil nut. Like he has a whole shelf dedicated to Resident Evil. It's a massive shelf. He has like 3 statues. It's amazing. And I have sources who I talk to a lot about this stuff, and I kind of knew that it was getting announced. And I told my buddy, I was like, hey, what if, the new Resident Evil was to get announced? I'm not saying it is. And he was like, shut up. shut up right now. And I was like, I mean, I don't think it's going to be because, they said third parties are pulling out of this event. And he was like, oh, yeah, that's true. And then we're back there watching it. And then the house pops up and he's like, wait a minute. That's the Resident Evil 7 house. So,
what I liked was how they revealed the actual title of the game. It was sneaky because well, at first I remember some people came out and said Village, and people thought, oh, this is kind of like a new IP, and then you hear like the boom, and you see they spell the Roman numerals of 8 from the VILL. And then it says Resident Evil. I was like,
yeah. When I saw that, I was like, oh,
smart.
You sneaky.
You sneaky. And I will say, I did see quite a few frame rate drops in some scenes.
Oh, yeah.
On that one.
Oh, yeah.
I that was the one that stood out to me for big, like, drops. I was a little shocked by that, but I mean, of course, these games they're way early into development. We have no idea. This one's now to be determined right now, right? Yeah.
This one actually is 2021.
2021, yeah.
Which is still a good ways away, but it is keeping the first person's perspective from RE7. Mm-hmm. And I think, who came back? Was it Chris or Leon at the end?
Oh, I don't know. Liam? He says, sorry, Liam. I don't keep up with Resident Evil.
Forgive me if I'm wrong, but I think it's Leon, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, he's buff! Like he is huge and jacked." But I'm very interested. All I know is that the main character is Ethan. I think they said Ethan, but yes, RE8 is looking very, very good, and I'm gonna be keeping my eye on this for a while. Luckily, it comes out next year, so I don't have to vomit money yet. But the big one I know you're wanting to talk about, because you have more to say about this than I do, is Horizon Forbidden West. Set in far future America, coming to the PS5.
Oh, dude, you have no idea how insane I blew up. And now, here's the funny thing about the Horizon Zero Dawn announcement, was that when I was sitting when they were playing the music at the beginning, they had like music playing for like half an hour, and I remember I was in Discord and I was talking with a few friends before I started the stream, and I was listening to the music at one point, and I'm like, that sounds like Horizon, but it was different. It was new because Horizon has a certain style. It's a very primitive with a bit of a synthetic feel to it, very light. And I was listening to it, and I'm like, this sounds like Horizon Zero Dawn. And then when they revealed Horizon, and the stuff that they revealed in the trailer, which was like, you can now swim underwater, you can find... man, I was almost in tears, because I love... Horizon Zero Dawn is one of the few games that I can beat, literally hit restart, and still enjoy the heck out of it, because you get games that you really enjoy, but you put it down, you don't need to play it anymore. You're fine. You're satisfied with it. It was a great game. You want a sequel. I can literally play through Horizon Zero Dawn, say that was fun, hit reset, and do it again, and still enjoy it.
See, that's one of the PlayStation exclusives I missed out on. I own it. I own the complete edition, and my fiance's playing through it, and she loves playing through it, and I want to play through it myself, but I'm kind of caught up because I'm kind of caught up trying to finish stuff in my backlog. Like right now, I'm just now getting through Uncharted Lost Legacy, which was like 2017, I think. 2016, 2017. I'm just now getting through that. And Horizon's just there, and I really want to play it, but I'm waiting. But I feel like I feel like I'm going to have to get to it sooner because of this. I don't think there is an announcement date yet, but from what we saw, that looks pretty far into development. That they have like environments and art. They have like the art style down. They have the new model, the PS5 model. I'm very excited to see how far the Guerrilla can push the PS5 with their own engine at like such an early state.
Yeah, that Decima engine is incredible.
Ooh.
It is powerful, is incredible, and honestly, this game I was so pumped for, and I said, oh, if I got Horizon Zero Dawn, I would be so happy, and we did, and that made me absolutely lose my marbles when I saw it. I was so happy, dude. I was losing my mind. And honestly, all I can really say, because I know you said that I have a lot to say, but the only thing I can really say is I cannot wait for more. And here's the thing, is that like Horizon Zero Dawn is just, for some reason, it just hits notes perfectly. There are notes that it hits that are just perfect in terms of story pacing. It knows how to ramp a story. It starts off slow, but still heartbreaking. It breaks your heart, but it's slow, and then it builds, and then it builds, and the hype builds, and the hype builds, and then you hit these peak moments, these you can't turn back moments, and they know how to pace a story. And I think that's why I love it so much, is that they know how to make a story from beginning to end and make it feel complete by the end of it. And they know that you have questions, and they either allude to the answer or they answer it, and it's just awesome. Now, we also got the first look at Ghostwire Tokyo.
Yes, they released a trailer for that like last year. No. E3 2019 is when they revealed it, but we didn't know anything about it. And now we finally saw footage of it, and now I'm kind of on the fence. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I expected a bit more of a. I feel like they reworked it, because I felt
that's
like,
what I'm thinking too.
Because the trailer that they pitched it was just kind of this weird kind of like this thriller where just people are just disappearing, and it's like literally people en masse are just disappearing, and it's up to you to figure out what's happening, right? And I was like, okay, it's kind of cool. And then they did the trailer for it, and I was like, okay, now it's starting to get a little wacky.
Yeah.
It feels like it's one of those artsy games that, oh, you just don't get it if you give any like negative...
Death Stranding.
It feels like Japanese Death Stranding. It does. It kind of does feel like Japanese Death Stranding. It's unique, I can say that.
Yeah, it's got its own identity, but it's not what I thought it was going to be. More of a horror game, because when I saw the E3 trailer in 2019, I was like, oh, this is from Tango Gameworks, who did The Evil Within 1 and 2. So I saw this, and I was like, oh, this looks really cool. This looks like a really cool horror game. And now it just looks like not a horror game.
I kind of feel mixed about Ghostwire a little bit. And another one that there's a few that they announced that I was just like, what? Just to kind of get those out of the way. What it was, Solar Ash.
Solar Ash.
Do you remember any details about it?
No.
Yeah,
I don't.
I don't remember a single detail.
Let me see.
And the other one was Pragmata.
Oh, Solar Dash, or Solar Ash. I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. This is by the developers who did Hyper Light Drifter, which is a fantastic game. All I remember is that Solar Ash has the same art style, but that's it. Yeah, I don't remember anything else.
I don't remember anything else about it. Now, but granted, though, guys, there were a lot. It's not for lack of trying. There was a lot of titles announced. Like, honestly, if this was PlayStation's E3, it hit all the notes.
Yeah. So just games. Nothing but games.
Yeah, nothing but games. Few like developers pop on, but they weren't on for longer than 30 seconds. Like, it was quick,
it was
to
just
the point.
Hi, here's my game.
Yeah, basically, right? Hi, I like video games. You like video games. Here's my video game.
Hi, you like basketball? Me too. All right, here you go.
Yeah. The one that I didn't expect was Hitman 3.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that either. And that actually, I think, is the first cross-gen game that they showed.
Yeah.
Because that's coming on current consoles and next-gen consoles.
Yeah,
and it looks really good.
Yeah, it looks really good. My only thing that I was upset about was, okay, let's see some gameplay, and they didn't really show gameplay. It was kind of
they
like...
didn't show gameplay.
Yeah, I was kind of like, what we see, they pulled, you could summarize what happened with the Hitman 3 trailer as to what happened with the Inside Xbox. Now, originally, I was on board with the Inside Xbox showing. I was like, yeah, it was decent. It was fine. It was good. But now, like, people were saying, no, you don't get it. Most of it was 3D generated CGI, cinematic. We don't know. I'm like, okay, yeah, I can now understand why people are upset. I get it now. So, the Hitman 3 kind of had that vibes where the gameplay wasn't gameplay. It was just cinematic, and then cinematic in engine, quote unquote.
Sure.
Now, the one that was odd, like just out there, was Little Devil Inside.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know how to feel about that one.
And that one was just weird. I don't know how to feel about it either. I thought the trailer was funny. I thought
it was funny, but I was like, what is the game? Am I inside this guy?
Yeah, I thought it was the part that killed me was when he's sitting inside the cold, in the warm fire, and it cuts to him shivering outside. Like, that was funny, but I was a little bit like, all right, sure. It was very much. It felt very much like another take on maybe like The Legend of Zelda, but also not, and Monster Hunter and Demon Hunting, but also not. It's what,
dude. If you want to talk about weird, do you remember Destruction All Stars?
Oh, Destruction All Stars. That was on the
yeah.
It's honestly
When I saw it, I was like, "Is this Twisted Metal? Is this like
That's
a reboot
exactly
of Twisted Metal?"
thought.
Yeah, I was like, "Okay, this is Twisted Metal. No, it's Rocket League. No, it's Fortnite. No, it's all of those things." And they say All Stars, but like, who are these people?
Yeah,
I don't know any of these.
Honestly, though, like for me personally, I gotta see gameplay. Obviously, I gotta sit down. Well, we saw gameplay, but I gotta play it. But it looks like a cross between, I was gonna say Rocket League and Twisted. I was literally saying it on live stream, like this literally looks like a cross between Rocket League and Twisted Metal.
Because it blends like car combat and on foot combat, so I don't know what you're going to be doing on foot besides running away from the cars.
I think the point would be, just sorry to interrupt, but I think the point is going to be where like you get your car destroyed. It's going to be almost like Titanfall, where you get your car destroyed, you get like you know probably
just grab another one.
No, you ragdoll out of it, and then you have to run around and survive. And like as the meter recharges, and if you dodge over a car or you hit like a car with a grenade, your cooldown gets taken down, and then once it fully fills, this is just me speculating, by the way. I'm just talking out my butt. But once the cooldown finishes, you hit X and you get your car back, and it warps back, and then you hop in and you drive off and you get back into it. I don't know. Just
honestly, man, I'm down. I'm down. This looks cool. Yeah. I'm down to play it.
It's just like, and what I like too is that PlayStation knows that there are some people that just want blind fun. Like, just, you want to blow things up, here you go.
Fine. There you go. Now, before we go on for another hour, I think we should dive into the console.
Hold on. There's one more I want to talk to you about. One more. Because
what's that?
It was weird. Bug snacks?
Yeah, it's Sony's way of saying, "Hey guys, we have kids games for little baby kids."
But it's also not. It's like by the makers of Octodad, so it's like it's a meme game. Like, I think that's literally it's just a meme game.
I thought it was a meme game, but it just kept going on and on about like it just kept showing itself more and more as a kids game, and I was like, I don't know if this is satire or not. Like, what am I supposed to take from this? And this is on PS4, PS5, and PC. Again, no Xbox love, but I don't know, man. This odd. Like, I felt like I was in a fever dream the entire time I was watching that.
Yeah, I was just like, what is happening? That was weird. That was definitely weird. But yeah, like you were saying, let's hop into the console side of things.
Wireless router from Linksys. Yes, so Sony finally shows us the console. Not just one console, two consoles.
Right.
We have the PS5, which I'm sure if you're listening to this, you've seen what it looks like, so we don't have to describe it. Mm-hmm. And then we have the PS5 Digital Edition. Mm-hmm. Now, here's my thing. I strongly believe that this is going to be this upcoming generation is going to be the last generation with a disc drive. I don't think we're going to have one after this, because if you look at the PS5 all digital, it's very symmetrical. It's a very specific shape that Sony wanted to go. But if you look at the PS5, the regular one, it's asymmetrical. It's very weird looking. It doesn't match. It's not for the vision that they were going for. That pesky little disc drive is getting in the way of their vision, and I think they're going to be dropping it after the PS5.
So I can definitely see that. I definitely can. And I think I think that it depends on what they're going to be doing, because as always, we always get the mid generation refresher, whether it's just like a slim version or whether it's a pro version or however the heck that you want to put it. The big thing will be to look at the mid generation refresh. If the mid generation refresh, if they decide to just say, hey, no disk drive on that mid generation refresh, then yeah, I think it's game over. I think done. You're done.
Yeah.
But I also think, which, I always like physical. I always prefer physical.
Oh yeah, dude. Same
Always
here. I don't
do.
think it's such a weird mindset to want to go digital, because I don't think you understand, those games aren't there forever. That Wii shop that was there years ago, it's gone. All those games that you bought are gone.
Yeah. And the big weird thing for me is looking at the big weird thing for me is because I've been starting to get a lot more review codes, and I'm slowly realizing I'm starting to get more and more digital codes and not even noticing it. And I think that's where things are starting to get to a point where I'm like, okay, I'm starting to see how this is getting carried away for me personally. Because, for example, I am reviewing The Last of Us Part 2, and I know everyone else got their review out, but chill out, mine's coming. But I got that as a digital, and then I got Spyro digitally, but I have it physical too, a CTR digital, because of these were all review codes. And it's really weird because I've just grown accustomed to it and I didn't realize it, and I'm understanding why people get into the mindset. And I don't personally like it for myself because I still love physical.
Yeah, and I understand digital is easier, especially for companies who are giving out review copies. They save money not having to manufacture a specific batch for reviewers, and also that stops it from leaking out because it's a physical disc that can easily be stolen. If it's a digital copy synced to an account, that's your account.
Yeah, easy to track.
I think it's just, they're just going to be going towards the future mentality of, everything digital.
Yeah.
It's so easy. You plug in and you download. That's it. But especially with the PS5, it's going to be weird because that SSD is, I believe it's soldered onto the board.
Yeah.
So you can't just upgrade it. You can get an external, but those things are, I tell people at the store all the time, it's a dicey situation with an external because I've had 3 of them that have failed on me. Yeah. One corrupted, one the second one, the USB port went out, so that corrupted everything, and the third one, my cat jumped off of it, knocked it off, corrupted everything. Yeah. It's not a safe thing to do. I always recommend internal. Yeah. But with something like this, you can remember Mark Cerny did that whole presentation, and he said there is going to be an M.2 slot in the PS5, but the thing is, they haven't, at the time, they didn't finalize the shape because there's so many different shapes, and no M.2 right now has the minimum bandwidth to be compatible with the PS5.
Right, exactly.
So they future-proofed it to the point to where it has to be in the future. Right now, you cannot upgrade it with an M.2 slot because nothing will be compatible.
Right, and it has to be a very specific. It can't be just like for our external drives, you could literally buy anything. You could walk into a store, I want that one, buy a hard drive, go home, an external drive, plug it into your console, and it'll work, right?
Yeah, that's it. It just works.
But because they're using, if I remember correctly, I might be wrong here, the SSD that they're using specifically is an NVMe drive, right?
Yes.
They're using an NVMe. So the thing is, and this is for, now this is something that I want to explain for some people, is that some people think hard drive and they think of the square that has a USB dongle sticking out of it, right? NVMe drive, not that at all. If you know what a stick of RAM looks like, that's it. That's literally it, because I have an NVMe drive in my computer now. And when I ordered it, I almost asked the guy who delivered it, where's the rest of it? And it was a 1 terabyte. It was 1 terabyte, and it was the size of a stick of RAM. And it goes right in. It goes into a different port than everything else. So
it just clips in.
Just click, done. That's it. Now here's the thing: is that to be able to expand your memory, it's not going to be a plug in and play. You have to tear this console apart, click it in, and then put it back together, which to my knowledge, would void the warranty.
Yes.
Right. So there's that problem. And we don't know what's the hard drive space. And now this is the big thing that between Xbox and PlayStation that is driving not just Sony fans, not just Xbox fans, not just PC fans, but everybody up the wall. Everybody's saying, what is the price?
Yes, and the fact that they showed off their own Lockhart before Microsoft, which, by the way, if you don't know what that means, Xbox announced that they have a Project Lockhart, which is going to be their cheaper model that doesn't do 4K, it only does 1080, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
They still haven't shown that off yet. But Sony, right out of the gate, was like, here's the PS5, and here's our Lockhart. And Microsoft, where's yours?
Yeah.
But there's still no price.
Well, they're playing chicken.
Or set release date.
They're playing chicken with Microsoft. You announce your price. No, you announce your price.
No, you do it.
You do it. And it's like, bro, just seriously, like, here's the thing.
Just tell us.
Just tell us. Because these consoles are coming out, and brace yourself, these consoles are coming out in 4 to 5 months.
I need to know how much I need to save right now.
Right now. We need to know. Like, because the thing is that we are getting price variances that are from $400 to $700. We're getting, people need to know. People want to know. And
yes, it's essential.
Yeah, these people playing chicken with each other. And here's the thing too, is that when they announce that price, right? Then it's going to be crazy to go to a store and be able to get a pre-order for one. Because everybody's going to be doing it.
Impossible.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we don't know. We don't know when pre-orders are going to be open. We have no idea. There's no announcement. It's just like, oh yeah, go. And then not even retailers are going to be open for it. Because I remember in Canada, when a game gets announced, it can take upwards of 2, or a game or a console, it can take upwards of 2 to 5 days before it actually opens up for pre-order. And that varies from store to store. Some stores, it's like, oh yeah, we have pre-orders open in 2 days. Oh, we got ours open the day of. Or, hey, we even got ours open before. Some, it takes a week, right? And some people, they want a console. They want a console. They want it bad. And then also people need to know, how can I afford this? Because for some people, this is going to be a very expensive venture.
Definitely.
Right. For some people, it's going to be extremely hard. There's going to be kids that are going to be literally working to their fingers or to the bone to get enough money to be able to scrape together for a PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X. I'm not just flinging mud here at PlayStation. I'm flinging mud at Xbox as well, because neither are giving us a price. And the one thing that's common between both of them is that it's not consumer friendly, and they need to.
Exactly. Us as consumers are struggling because we don't know which one to buy, because we don't know the price, and they're not going to show us the price until the other one shows the price. It's a very stubborn mindset for them to be at each other's throats and not think about the consumer, because we're the ones buying it. Microsoft's not buying it. We are.
Yeah.
And a little off topic too. All the accessories that they showed off when they showed off the console. You remember that little sizzle reel?
Yeah.
Okay. Why is there a TV remote? Like, we don't need that.
Yeah. That was one. I even made a joke on. I even made a joke where I said that, yeah, that's going to be one of the first things that people are just going to lose. Like, you're going to find that in, like, when you go to like a thrift store and you find like the discount bin of like technology, miscellaneous stuff, you're going to find the PlayStation controller there.
But like, what's the functionality? Like, are they trying to push TV like Xbox did? Because remember how that ended up? It was a joke.
Yeah, we have no idea. We really have no clue whatsoever. But the one thing that I love is that magnetic charging dock. Oh
yeah.
Yeah. I almost made like a verbal noise out of my mouth. I was just like, yes.
Yes. And I like that they showed off the camera, but like, what are we using it for?
Well,
like, we don't
VR
have
again.
Yeah, I know it's backwards compatible with the PSVR, but like, you haven't announced the PS5 VR, which is a whole nother can of worms. Like I cringe to think how far back production on that is.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening. There's still a bunch of questions, but we had a lot of them answered. And here was the thing that I think PlayStation did looking back. I still think they could have done what they did now earlier. However, I understand what PlayStation was doing. What basically Microsoft was doing was releasing details. And what Sony just did was they just wound it up into one shotgun shell and fired it square in your face with everything. Just, load it up, kablam, right? And it was one of the most impressive showings ever. Like, would you go far? Your personal opinion? Would you go as far to say that if what's happening in the world right now isn't happening between the protests and the pandemic and murder hornets? I gotta remember the murder. Oh yeah, and Planet of the Apes, because with the literal monkeys stole samples of COVID, which I thought was hilarious. That story, they literally thought it was a good idea to put the samples of COVID right beside the monkeys, and the monkeys broke out.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, they broke out and they ran away with it. Like, man, we made a movie about this. So I'm like, this is great. So between Planet of the Apes, murder hornets, the protests, and COVID, and I want to ask you, if this was their E3 presentation, would you have been satisfied?
Honestly, yeah. Except for not like if they showed us a price, then it would have been like full-fledged on that's it.
Yeah.
But if it was E3 and they gave us this and it was just this, like no interruptions, no like, hi, I'm on stage and here's why everything's amazing, and then here's 30 minutes of this guy talking. If it was just this, like specifically, I think like that's it. They won E3.
Yeah.
But there is no E3. But if this was during E3, I would have been satisfied with it.
Yeah. With the exception of the price, because that would have been the one thing,
yes.
The one major critique is because we know the general idea of when it's coming out. We get it. It's fall 2020, right?
Yeah.
Or holiday 2020. So November.
Holiday 2020.
Holiday 2020. So November or December, right? We get that.
Yeah.
But give us a
Could
price.
Be October. We don't know because you're not telling us.
Yeah, exactly. But if they did this as an E3 presentation and they announced the price, would you have been happy and satisfied and been like, yep, I'm happy with that as an E3 presentation?
Yes, absolutely.
Yep. See, and I fully agree with you. That's where I'm like, this literally felt like an E3 showing. Like, if this is how they're going to be doing their E3 presentations for the rest of their life or whatever, I'm happy. I am satisfied.
Yeah. Just shotgun blast us with games like, all right, here's everything.
Yeah, here's everything. And, if you have a baloney title that you need to not shill for, but if you got a title that people are just going to be going or groaning about, get it out of the way right away, like you did with Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah, exactly, with GTA 5.
Because I thought at first, I was like, okay, it's a bit of a weak start, and then they showed off Spider-Man. I'm like, oh, just never mind.
Never mind. Start from the very bottom and then shoot up your way to the top.
Yeah, exactly. And I thoroughly enjoyed this. It's made me very excited for next generation. I still have questions.
Yes.
Is every curiosity satisfied? No. Has PlayStation pulled out in front of Xbox?
That's the thing. I mean, I think Sony showed more than Xbox.
I think so too.
They've showed a lot more than Xbox, but the thing is, we still have a lot of questions. Xbox is striving in a lot of specific areas. For example, backwards compatibility, which I would like to get into next episode because we are going on long for this episode.
Yeah,
but
we're over.
Xbox is handling backwards compatibility way better than Sony ever could, and I think that's the big thing holding Sony back. But at least they have games. I'll say that.
Yeah, like I said, the backwards compatibility thing, we were talking about this earlier. There's a lot of muddy details. That's the problem. Is that there's a lot
they're not
of
being
muddy.
clear.
Yeah.
It's like one thing reports on another one, someone else reports on something else, and it's conflicting. We don't know.
Yeah, we really don't know, and that's where I will admit Xbox has been a bit more clear with that. But in terms of Sony and backwards compatibility, it's been a bit murky.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, which we will expand on next episode.
Yes.
But I think that's all of my thoughts for now. Do you have any more thoughts?
That's all I got, man. I'm tired by saying all the thoughts. There's a lot of games.
There's a lot. Oh my god, yes.
That was crazy.
All right, so thank you everyone for listening. I'm glad everyone decided to come in and hear us talk about the PS5 event. Even though you could go listen to anyone else, you chose us. Thank you. We love you. You can find us on anything with audio, Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud,
Yep.
Listen Notes, YouTube, whatever. I forget everything we're on. If you want to follow us on Twitter, I am at ShimpOfficial, and Canadian Guy is at Canadian Guy A with another H because there is still an imposter and Twitter refuses to hear us.
Yes.
We are still waiting for our carrier pigeon letter. You know where to find us. Probably not. If you have a carrier pigeon, send pictures.
Please.
And I still want a Wumpa Time segue. So, anything else?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, everyone, we're tired. We're going to go to bed. Bye.
Bye.